Okay, I am back. It's dry now. And before you stamp, you really need to coat the surface with some kind of sealer. Let me tell you this from experience, if you don't, the moment you stamp and then you pull up the stamp, it brings the alcohol ink with it. I've not stamped once and it didn't do that, so you can use I'm getting glare. You can use a spray fixative like you get in trying to do this without glare. Okay. You can use a spray fixative like you get in the art section with like the paintbrushes and stuff. That's made for paintings or good old Mod Podge. So that's what I'm going to use. I actually prefer the fixative. It gives a nicer finish. But I'd have to go outside with that. So. And you really just need to coat the surface you're going to be stamping on. So, not too thick, just enough that it seals the ink in. So that's what you need to do there. Super simple. And while that is drying, I'm going to talk about how you finish them, because it would take hours for me to go through and actually show you the finished product, how you get there. But after you stamp and let it all dry, you can finish it a couple of different ways. You can finish it with some kind of spray adhesive or spray finishing like a Krylon or something. You can finish it with Mod Podge, but I'm probably going to be selling mine. I don't wear a lot of jewelry, so I didn't feel comfortable selling it, because if these get wet, even though the alcohol ink is supposed to be permanent on this kind of stuff, it still comes off. There's still like a faint coloring, but it'll come off on your clothes. So I'm afraid of that. So what I do, this is one that's in progress. I will put the bail in, which hasn't been drilled on this one. This is one of my early ones. It was actually, if you watched my last video, this is the one that was underneath the desk. So, what I'll do is I'll have the bail on, and I'll use the bail and completely submerge it in Envirotex Light pour-on high gloss resin. You can use that Cast and Craft stuff, or I find the Cast and Craft easy pour stuff is too soft, and it takes a really long time to dry here for some reason. So I just use that, and I completely submerge it in resin, and I hang it up like you see that one. It's inside of this one right here. It's inside of a little plastic Tupperware container on a skewer. So it's kind of just hanging there drying. And what's going to happen as the resin dries on it and it kind of slumps down onto the domino, right at the bottom there, you're probably going to get a like a little lump of resin. You can either let it set there and just sand it off, and then just recoat it with a little bit of resin to get that glossy shine back. Or you can just sit and watch it and keep removing and removing, but I just let them dry and come back with sandpaper and recoat with resin. But once that first layer is dry, I make sure it's completely covered. Then I take it and I lay it on its back and I completely cover the top in like a doming layer of resin. And just, I don't know if you can see them. The ones in there have a layer of doming resin on them. And then I just let them there to dry, and they end up totally finished and totally sealed. Unless you're really abusive to them, they're not gonna get hurt. That resin is the same stuff that like Sonny's Barbecue or any of those barbecue places with the really high gloss tables use on their furniture. So anyway, I think it's still drying, so I'm gonna turn this off and I'll come back when it is totally dry. Okay, thank you. Okay, it is pretty dry now, and I've got some glossy accents, and I want to put the screw eye back in it, and I'm just gonna put a little daub of that down in the hole. Just keep it glued in. And screw it back in. And I normally need a pair of pliers. It's quite tight. Put it that way. Okay. And you can see that the Mod Podge is on there. Okay. I have a stamp I'm going to use. I hand carved this stamp with some Speedy Carve. It's like a pink rubber eraser type material. And it's just a really simple little flower. But, and I've got some stays on. And you definitely need a permanent ink. This isn't going to work otherwise, so this is probably still going to stick some. They always do, but at least it will not pull up your alcohol ink. So, hope you can see. I don't know why it's turning amber. Okay. And see if you can see it stuck to it. You just kind of gotta be gentle and remove it. And I'm gonna put one more. You really want to make sure your stamp is really juicy with ink. Just be gentle when you're removing it. And there's the stamp. And I should have carved a leaf, but I didn't, so. Anyway. And that is the pendant. Again, you just let this really dry overnight, I would hope. And then you come back and dip it in resin, like all the way up to the neck of the screw eye. And let it dry, and then if you like that kind of look, or if you want to come back and put the little dome of resin on the front. But that's how the domino pendants are made. You can color them with alcohol inks if you've got a specific, like, face or something. You can use chalk inks, anything. If you stamp on that domino and then with StazOn, and then use like chalk applicators or anything, but just as long as you seal it. So I hope that might inspire someone. Have a wonderful day, y'all. Bye bye.